Ramadan, training for leading a cautious life. This is the month of Ramadan. The Arabic word for Ramadan is waka, yaqi, meaning being cautious. Therefore, it is said of a horse, farasun waqin, that is, a horse which has a wound in the foot walks with caution. From this perspective, Ramadan is a training for leading a life of caution. For a believer, the entire life is a life of caution, but Ramadan is a special training for a person to lead a life of caution, to prepare himself so that in the remaining months he can lead a life of caution. This is the spirit of Ramadan. The Quran says, fasting has been prescribed for you just as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may lead a life of taqwa. I believe that the word caution is very appropriate. But this does not only deal with food and drink, rather with regard to every matter. For example, being cautious while speaking. If you speak, you must be very cautious. You must not speak ill of others and must not direct false allegations at people. It is a common mistake that if you develop complaints against someone, you tend to backbite or accuse him. The month of Ramadan is a month of training. You can have complaints or differences with someone, but you must adopt a way of caution in your speech. For example, there is an incident of a companion of the Prophet. Two of the companions developed differences over a matter. A person met with one of the companions and began to complain about the other companion with whom he had developed differences. The first companion immediately replied, "Be silent. The difference between us will remain confined only to the matter with which we have developed dispute, and it would definitely not extend to our religion. Based on this difference with him, I will never say that the person is irreligious." This means that the month of fasting is a training to lead a life of caution. The above two companions have developed differences over a property. Based on this, a third person began to complain to one companion about the other's irreligiousness. So the first companion asked him to be quiet and move away. A life of caution is a training for the whole year, rather for the whole life. This is extremely important. People think that fasting has a form and it can be fulfilled by solely observing its form. People do not take fasting in a sense of its spirit. If you take fasting only as a form, it would be reduced to a ritual. Fasting essentially means to fast with its spirit. A long time ago, I went to a city where an eminent officer lived in a palatial house. I traveled by train and reached his house in the morning. I was supposed to stay in a place outside his house. Every day I observed that a person would come in the morning carrying the Quran in a case. He would open it, read the Quran, and then leave. When I asked the owner of the house, the officer, about the individual who came in the morning, he smilingly replied, "This is the month of Ramadan. Fasting is difficult for me. So I have asked a Hafiz, a person who has memorized the whole Quran, to come every morning, recite the Quran, and finish it by the end of the month. Towards the end of the month, I give him some money." This is all the officer thought that fasting involves in Ramadan. I will urge you to make Ramadan as a means for adopting the spirit of Ramadan by living a life of caution and take a pledge to follow this throughout your life. The spirit of fasting is caution or abstinence. In other words, being cautious in every matter, speech, action, and conduct. Leading life with caution is the spirit of fasting. For example, not speaking ill of others and so on. Yesterday, I remembered someone with whom I had developed some differences. I considered him wrong for several years. Hence, I had become negative towards him. But yesterday, I decided that no matter whoever was in the wrong, I would forgive him and remove all the negative thoughts from my heart that I had for him. I eliminated all negative thoughts from my mind and I began to pray for him. I request all of you to observe fasting with the spirit of caution. Fasting is not merely a ritual, but a spirit which we need to adopt. I pray to God to guide all of us to adopt the religious spirit. May God accept from us and forgive our sins.